Welcome back to the show, back with our resident contracting expert. And if you're looking for, don't laugh, it's true, Ryan. Ryan Branton is joining us from Branton Construction Group. And today we're talking about something really important, Ryan, because I don't think a lot of people know the difference between, you know, what a dwelling unit is in your basement compared to just having a bedroom down there in the basement or a games area, whatever you want to call it down there, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's important because the rules are completely different, whether you're building a secondary dwelling in your basement or whether you're just putting a bedroom for your son or daughter down in the basement. The rules around it are much different.
Okay, well, so what is the difference between the two of those, and what are the rules?
So if we're thinking about a secondary dwelling, we're thinking about having a little tiny mini townhome, say, in your basement.
Okay.
Right? So where the fire regulations and the sound regulations are going to be much higher. Okay. Right? So we want to separate those two units completely as if it was a row of townhomes.
Gotcha.
That's one way. Whereas if it's a bedroom in your basement, it's just a bedroom in your basement. It's okay as long as you have the proper window.
Yeah, let's talk about that window because that's extremely important. And I actually think it would make sense to have them all the same anyway, right? Because almost every new home has a finished basement. If something happens in your home, if a fire starts upstairs and you're playing pool in your basement, how you getting out sort of thing. But there are regulations if it's a dwelling, right?
There are lots of regulations around the windows. Like not only is it just the size, like an egress window would be about 4 square feet and 15 to 18 inches of an opening, right? But not just about the size that they're worried about. They're also worried about the glazing. So how much window space compared to wall space do you have? That's something that you consider.
Okay.
Where is the window going to be? Is it going to be on the side of your house where you already have windows? All of these things need to be figured out during the process of drawing it and going through the code review.
I'm glad you mentioned drawings because you and I always start with that.
We
right?
do start that way.
Well, because, you know, planning is so important and getting those drawings done is incredibly important for what particular reason?
Yeah, well, when it comes to windows, for instance, right, we have to put in a bigger window. We have to decide where we're going to put it, and we have to put it in relation to where the concrete floor is. We want a minimum of, say, 4 feet from the top of the concrete floor for how big the window will be. So we have concrete, so otherwise we need frost protection, so the frost doesn't dig down and hit your foundation and push it up. We don't want that. All of these things need to be figured out before we actually just go cut the concrete and throw the window in, right? Because it makes a big cost difference if we're digging up outside to put in foam to stop the frost.
So let's say, you know, we've got a bungalow and now I'm going to put in, you know, a legal dwelling unit down there. Okay. Do I need a permit, first of all, to do that?
You need a permit to do that, yes. You need a permit to put a bedroom in your basement, to finish your basement. Anytime you type to finish a spot, you're going to need a permit, and you're going to need drawings, absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something. So you said, mention fire.
Yeah.
Fire regulations, like is that in what's in your walls, what you're using on, you know, as far as drywall? Okay.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that the burn time is about 45 minutes, right? So if there's a fire downstairs in the downstairs unit, it takes about 45 minutes to get upstairs, half hour, so that there's time for the fire department to arrive. So we have all kinds of products here that help with that, but for fire rating, we want to go after like a thicker drywall, like a 5/8 fire rated drywall.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You did bring in a little show and tell here today. Let's talk about what you brought in because I'm imagining we're talking a little insulation and some soundproofing, probably more than even insulation, right?
Yeah, but the one over here, this one here, now that's fire rated, right? So that won't burn. That is very, very good for both sound and fire rating.
Okay.
Right. This is something that you would see in like a typical home.
Yeah.
It's relatively thin. You know, it's not going to give you. You can look at the density of this
compared to that, right? If you put them up,
So kind of like, you can kind of see this is much thicker, right? That's going to stop sound and fire. So this is what we would use as professional contractors. We're going to go towards this, right?
Any fire rating at all? Is this a slow burn, or is it? This is just like we want to get away from this,
we
right?
want to get away from this kind of cheap material. Like I wouldn't, if I was finishing your basement for you, I wouldn't be installing this. I'd be going for something like that.
Right.
But then we have sound.
Yeah, I was going to. So you may. Let's say you're putting a bedroom down there and you're separating it from maybe you're doing a little living room down there or something like that, right? Now you need sound, and I imagine from upstairs too, right? Between floors.
Yeah, there are lots of cool. But I brought a really, really cool product today called Sonopan.
Yeah.
This is an amazing, versatile product. So when it all comes to sound, it's all about the STC rating, which is the rating which, like for townhomes or stuff like that, we require 50, right? 55 to 60 is really good. We're doing a theater room, we're going to want closer to 60.
Right.
This product alone, all by itself, gives you 27.
Really?
Yeah, and this product just goes in just before the drywall.
Right.
It just screws in like with regular drywall screws. It comes in 4x8 sheets. It's about $1 per square foot. Super cheap.
Wow, no kidding.
So this is an amazing product for that.
Okay, so between the joists, are you still putting this
Yeah.
and then you're adding this?
Ideally, so when it comes to sound transmission, ideally what you want to do is you want to stack it.
Okay.
Right? So if we're building, like if I was building a secondary dwelling in my basement, I would go with something like this in the ceiling space. Then I would go with something like this like up on the ceiling,
On
and
the
then I
ceiling
would
as
do
well.
5/8 on top of that.
Okay.
And if you really want to kill it, 2 layers of 5/8 gyprock is going to bring that up to like a 65 or 70 STC rating, which is sound transmission, which is awesome.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And you've got a thinner piece
I do.
here. What is
This
that?
is really cool because this is for floors. This is a relatively new product that they
Really?
have. This would go underneath your hardwood floor.
Okay.
Right? So this would have stopped that, that thumping sound, that kind of stuff. It will help with that.
I'm about to redo the floors at our cottage, and what we were thinking of, there's that rollout stuff.
Right.
Is this replacing that? Like this
Oh,
is going to
yeah.
be much
Yeah,
better?
much better. Yeah.
So you're getting rid of those creaks and hearing people
And then
walking
hearing people,
upstairs.
Yeah,
eh?
you don't want to. I mean, we recently helped someone out in Rockland with a secondary dwelling that wasn't done properly. And as I was standing talking to them about the sound problem, I could hear the people dragging the chairs across the living room upstairs.
Really, eh?
Right? So this just stops that whatsoever.
How often are you seeing that type of situation where, somebody's decided that they're going to put a secondary, sort of dwelling downstairs and they haven't followed any of the rules? Is it common?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's common, and it's something that we're up to about 5 renovations that we've taken over from other contractors that have done bad, not just secondary dwellings. The rules in Ontario are very strict. Especially
good.
with secondary dwellings.
Yeah.
But in building and all, I don't think people realize how strict they are, which
Okay.
is why we want to get drawings and permits done. So we
Yeah.
have someone inspecting them who knows the rules.
Best way to reach you, Ryan?
BrantonGroup.com.
Excellent. This is great. Now I've got to go home and tell my wife we might have to get a new product. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this.